Hello, Heidi here, and it is time for an update on my carnivore journey. So, for the past about 2 months, I have been steadily losing weight. I've lost over the course of 2 months. I've lost about 15 pounds. Um, I was doing beef, butter, bacon, and eggs strictly, and I was doing very well, staying strictly on the BBBE for 4 to 6 weeks, for the last 4 to 6 weeks. And one of the reasons, if uh, one of the reasons I did that was um, because of Lent and the Lenten fast. Now, I am an Orthodox Christian, and Orthodox Christian practice during Lent is actually to follow a strict vegan fast, essentially. No meat or dairy or animal products, except for they allow shellfish, crustaceans, nothing with a backbone. Okay, so um, that is a traditional Orthodox Christian practice, which I have followed since I became Orthodox, which was about um, 15, 20 years ago. Um, wow, time flies. Anyway, so that this is the first year that I decided not to strictly follow that practice, but instead to do something different for Lent because I needed to have the energy, I needed to have the health, I wanted to not derail and balloon up because not having any animal products essentially for me is kind of a recipe for disaster. Um, and like license to carve out and just go crazy, which like I need an excuse, but um, that's kind of that was the decision I made, and so just talking about choices. These are the choices that I'm making for my health. A lot of people talk about um, this is my diet and this is and I quote unquote cheated on my diet. So I guess you could say I cheated on Lent, um, but I didn't cheat on my diet. So um, but honestly, I do not like that terminology, like, at all. So, and I'm not married to food. Like, and if it feels like I am, then there's something wrong with that. And sometimes it does feel like I am. But um, I these are the choices that I made. So I made the choice to stay on beef, butter, bacon, and eggs for the entirety of Lent, and to pretty much limit myself to those things for the entirety of Lent, which included no dairy. Um, and it was fairly successful. Now, I one reason was doing it just to stay clean and healthy. Um, to gain energy to get through all of the crazy stuff in the last 2 weeks that I've had to accomplish. Um, because I'm a teacher, it's the end of April, beginning of May. Now we're kind of getting into the middle of May, and so many things are happening. Not to mention, last Sunday was Pascha, which is the Orthodox Christian Easter. So very big deal, very big deal. So this is just I'm just documenting right now kind of how I navigated it, what's been going on, the repercussions of my choices, good and bad. So right now, I knew that I was going to choose when the Pascha feast came around that I was going to choose to have just to go normal, to go sad for a while, not a while, but like at least for the past day, to eat what everybody else is eating, um to live in community like that without limiting myself. And that was the choice. That was the choice that I make, and I made make it, and I knew that that was the choice that I would make, and I kind of planned on that, and I um someone said on some video. I do watch a lot of you know carnivore influencers on YouTube, and somebody mentioned that instead of saying I cheated or whatever, that like it's an experiment. Like, don't go into things saying I'm going to cheat, or I'm going to have a cheat day, or this is you know maybe you can just go into it and look at it a little bit more objectively as an experiment. And I kind of like that. And there, because there are people that are like, I will never, ever, ever eat that again. And if I do, I know that it will kill me. It will go down the rails and I'll never be able to get back. And I respect that. I respect that decision. And, I'm not deluding myself to say that I don't have a compulsion to eat sugar laden foods, especially, that I don't have cravings, or that I don't have things I can't control, because obviously I think that should be pretty obvious. If I could control my eating, I would have, because I'm not, not stupid that I'm significantly overweight. um, so there's that. Like, obviously, food has been a problem for me, clearly, um, my entire life. And it's, resulted in chronic, lifelong obesity. So I just don't want to look at it in a defeatist way. And I have talked about kind of my emotional struggles as well. And even though, like, I'm gung ho to do this, I also know that there's an emotional part of my life that is just simply not ready to go 100% and say never ever. And also, just my mindset is not good with all or nothing, or never ever, because then it crashes the opposite way. Then it just sabotages. So if I say I'm never eating sugar again in my life, the first thing I'm going to go do is go eat as much sugar as I possibly can before that moment that I'm never going to eat it again. So it like freaks out. Oh, I'm never going to have it again. That means I have to have 5,000 calories of sugar right now. So that is very sabotaging and defeating, self-defeating, um, and harmful. So I don't. I'm not good with the all or nothing. I'm not good with the never agains, and so I've decided not to make those kind of drastic statements, but to make my choices in the moment. And like, even at these times that I have chosen to go ahead and eat something with sugar, go ahead and eat something with grains, something that doesn't have, that is not what I would normally eat, or not what I know it's going to really truly nourish me, but it is basically for entertainment and community. That in so making that choice, that I will know what the recovery, just to be aware and to be observant of what the consequences of that are, and inform the next choice, basically. I I knew I was going to make that choice because emotionally, for sure, not ready to go into the Paschal picnic the day after we've been through a 4 hour church celebration in the middle of the night. I knew that I was not going to walk into the picnic the next morning and say, or afternoon, and say, oh, yeah, I'm not going to eat that cake. I'm not going to eat that bread. I'm not going to eat that Pascha cheese because it's got sugar in it. I'm not going to, I knew that I wasn't ready to do that. Um, and so I didn't. I, and to be, but what I'm, what I'm finding is even in that choice, I did not like 100% binge. And I even was making wiser choices. Things that are different, that even though my mindset is not 100% clean, I guess you would say, even though I'm not eating 100% clean, 100% carnivore, all of that, my mindset and my relationship with food and my thinking around food is slowly changing because I'm noticing those slow changes. Um, Noticing that I put these things on my plate, but I did not grab the largest thing and I did not take 2 spoonfuls of something where I could just have 1 spoonful. And I did not clean my plate and finish every bite of it off of my plate. And I didn't go for that extra piece of cake that was left. And I willingly shared the piece of cake that I had on my plate with, um, like I asked them because I knew there was only one piece on the platter left. So I'm like, well, I should just share a couple of bites of mine with my niece, with my sister, with my friend. Like everybody should try this. It's really good. And I was willing to share mine, like offeringly willing, which is it's just a different mindset for me in that kind of like, oh, I have to have this is mine. I have to have the rest of it. I want it. And when it's gone, there's no more. I mean, it's different. It's like, okay, I can have this bite. And I'm not saying that I'm not addicted and that I can like easily moderate because I don't necessarily think that's true. Um, but I am starting to be observant and I am starting to say, okay, like everybody everybody wants to be a good moderator and just like, but I think it's pretty obvious. Like, if I really could moderate, I wouldn't be, 150 pounds overweight. So, anyway, um, sorry. It's funny to look in the camera. I'm still not good at this camera thing. Anyway, um, so yeah, I'm probably not a moderator, but right now I'm observing. I'm observing and I'm making the choices, accepting the consequences, and informing my next choices. Now, so here's the other thing. It has kind of the last few days led into, well, because I knew this was coming too, because it happened to be going into Teacher Appreciation Week. And of course, Teacher Appreciation Week, there is food treats everywhere, every day. So I can't say that I've had a clean day, full day yet since Pascha, since Sunday, for various reasons. Eating up food that I had prepared, like my bread. I made bread, like real bread, right? The sweet bread with honey and um, eggs and butter and milk. Um, my Pascha bread. So I had some of that left over. I actually did make my Pascha cheese with well, with sweetener. I know some people are like crazy about that, but without sugar and but with sweetener, it tasted all right. And I still have some of that left, honestly. And I put berries in it, but I guess I don't need to detail my food. Just saying that there was leftover food that is not necessarily clean that was in my house still that I've been kind of willingly eating up, but also giving away. There's food at school because, of course, all of the food comes to appreciate us. Thank you. Um, and so I have indulged in some candy. The other thing is, though, I still going back to that mindset and the observance. I don't want to like chew my horn or something like, oh, this is amazing. I'm fine. Maybe I'm not, but I feel different. I do feel different um, in how I'm looking at food, and and even the choices that I am making to be like, okay, I am going to eat um, this thing, and I'm not bargaining, but I'm looking at something else and going, yeah, that's sweet treat, but it's not worth it. And so I don't really. I'm just gonna say no this time. This time I'll say no. This time I'll keep walking. Without guarantees, without expectation, just making those choices that are a little bit better and not so bingy, cringy. Um, which is to say, I did have a cookie. I did have a sandwich with bread today and chips. I did have um, some chocolate candies that were given to me by a student. Um, but I only ate like half of those and gave the rest to my sister. Um, and there were other opportunities to do, but like I walked in this morning and they had also provided these little mini muffins and mini bagels um, and I looked at that and was like, they're just they're just cheap grocery store muffins and um, like oranges or something, like maybe banana. It was just like, no, that's not. If I'm gonna do it, if I'm gonna go ahead and eat the carbs right now, it should be something that really is worth it, like that I really do enjoy. So that's kind of where I'm at now. There just like two more events in the future, not huge events, but a pizza party with my band kids and a donut party with my choir kids that I feel likely that I will have a donut and a piece of pizza. Um, but I also have the plan, even in those times, to make sure that I'm well fed on meat, well nourished, so that if I do eat that, maybe I can say no. Maybe I will say no. Maybe we'll choose in that moment to be like, these are for you guys, but I don't need one. Um, at any rate, I know those things are coming and I'm going to have grace about my choices on that. But also that I am going to be feeding myself nourishing carnivore meals at home for sure over the next several days. And and then I am going to um, not not this coming next week. I'm hoping to have everything basically phased out and back on a streak track of good carnivore foods by the end of next week. And also, at that point, I'm going to start priming. So, just to kind of take the advice of, some people I've seen on YouTube suggesting priming, which I guess basically what they're calling just to really fill yourself up on meat and eggs and, the carnivore foods that really fill your tank up and make you feel nourished and not hungry and not and satiated, fully satiated and full. And so I'm gonna do that for a couple weeks, and I will commit to that at that point. To stay strictly carnivore for at least 2 weeks from that point and go from there. So that's where I'm at. I do feel so motivated to continue the carnivore way of eating and to veer back to that track. Knowing that I took this little detour, I still am wanting to veer back on that way of eating, that carnivore track, because I do feel better when I'm doing that. And it's very interesting. I only lost 15 pounds, like in that last 6 weeks. But people started to notice, and I find that interesting because I don't think, like, 15 pounds is not a lot when you weigh this much. 15 pounds, I mean, I'm glad for it. It was going in the right direction. I'm not upset. It's just, it's interesting to me that people notice because it's not that much weight when you have so much to lose. Normally, in previous times that I've, lost weight by whatever means, people didn't generally notice until at least 20, 30 pounds. And they're like, "Ooh, you've been losing weight?" And at that point, yes. But I think, I guess it was just, I just thought it was interesting because I think it wasn't just the fact that, yes, I have lost 15 pounds, but I think carnivore, interestingly, the body composition starts to change. And that is the strange part. Like, it's not just losing weight, it's things get tighter, things get, like, your skin somehow looks better. My face was looking better. I mean, it still kind of is, but this is the other part of the motivation. Like, if I don't get back on track real quick, like completely veer back to this track, then I'm going to lose that progress that I made completely and balloon up again. So this is my update for today. And I hope and pray, and I'm going to continue to document my journey, ups and downs, ins and outs, poor choices, good choices, but that's where it's at. And I am in a pretty good place right now. And I am happy. I'm happy that I enjoyed Pascha, and most importantly, Christ is risen. Indeed, he is risen. That's our joyful response. Christos voskresce, voisino voskresce. So that's my signing off for today, and I'm sure there'll be another update, if not before, once summer vacation starts. So Christ is risen.